I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Amorphous.
Come the Spring. This is
this for the big homie Kai?
Yes.
Excellente.
Yes.
Kai is one of my guys. Kai's my guy. Thank you to everybody who reached out to me about the situation. Yesterday, I really appreciate it. Felt your love, prayers, all that jazz. I really mean it. So thank you. You know, hey man, tough stuff, and sometimes you gotta let it out. So I appreciate everybody for the thoughts. But as they say, the show must go on.
That was a 7 Dust. The life.
Well, somebody was like, "Hey, man, maybe you need to take a break." It's like both of these are the emotional, whatever. So anyway, thank you guys for that. But show must go on. Okay, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit me up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. There's some very particular interesting situation that happened that I definitely want to speak on and will speak on very soon. And okay, there are multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener. My favorite is the community option, $1 at the gate, gets you in at Patreon, where you get joined in with alliances. You get the True Cult, that's a black metal alliance. And also you get extra perks, like for example, we're working on a song right now as we speak. Me, Jay Dispirited, Sori, Sarcast, and our mystery bassist, the guy with the 6-string bass. If you're the guy with the 6-string bass, for the love of God, email me, vinandsori@gmail.com. Okay, so you get access to all that stuff. You pull your points together. That delineates what song we do. The other side of it, though, is if you're a filthy capitalist like Sori. I'm not going to call Kai a filthy capitalist because I love Kai. What's up, buddy?
What does that say about me?
I mean, I love you too. It's a different kind. It's a different... Filthy Capitalist option 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. After you do that 3 times, you get down to 75, and so that's what the big homie Kai did. This is the band Amorphous.
I love you, Sori.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. This is the band Amorphous. Come the spring, let's go. Praise God. Got a break.
It was not heavy.
Yay! Oh, like not subject matter wise.
Yes, that's what I mean. And even the sound of it was kind of like uplifting, and it's
Thank
about
God.
springtime, and
Yes,
and I think that, like, you know, Kai was talking about like literally springtime. He's like, well, I know we're midsummer, blah blah blah, but I don't think it's just for the coming of spring. But I think it's spring as in seasons in your life, and good times that follow after hard winters and stuff. And so I think it's a good song for that too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been a hard, if you're in America, and you know, not just America, I mean, everybody's dealing with COVID, but you know, it's just back to back, you know, between COVID and then Floyd, and it's just a crazy, you know, being in certain environments or whatever, like you're getting death updates like constantly, but it's different because it's like, well, yeah, because everybody, like, it's not a very good, you know, like people have like, hey, send this to this person or whatever, like, you know, if I don't come back home or whatever, but it's not supposed to be like that in like the real world.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the hardest thing for me is like opening up Facebook and there's another RIP, there's another RIP, you know, it happened again with JJ's friend, you know, and like she it was crazy because she's like, oh, I can't go to this person's funeral, and then I hit her up too, and I said, because she said I can't find a ride, and so I said, hey, I
didn't even think we could Uber her.
I said I can get you an Uber, but I said, but if you want to stay away from those people and that situation, then I get it, you know. And it turned out that was, she didn't want to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't even think about Ubering her. I was just thinking, I can't give her a ride.
But I knew we could get her a ride, but I wasn't gonna do it.
Uber.
I wasn't gonna do it publicly because I'm like, maybe she's.
Yep. Perhaps.
And she basically said thank you. You know, but so there, and then like, you know, that was 2 days ago. And the girl that died, like, she was, like, people loved her, man. Like, they really, really loved her, you know? And then I open up again, and she's saying R.I.P. to another dude.
I know.
And they're like, and people are like, what? No! Like, that
people
guy
thought it was a joke.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been hard, like, you know, that's what we used to call it, the real world. Oh, you're going back to the real world. And yeah, man, Vince, going to the real world, everybody. And you're like, no way! They thought I was gonna be a lifer. I was like, nah, man,
I would have thought that too.
I was like, nah, I got a girl back home or whatever, so.
It's interesting because anything that you do, you look like you're gonna be a lifer. Because you do everything with like.
Yeah.
Like the other night I heard you say, like, we're on the live stream and somebody was like, are you guys gonna do this into your old age? And you're like, no. I was like,
yeah, I have a very specific like date.
You
for
do?
The last show, yeah.
Oh, I just sounded really sad. Like okay.
So, but anyway, like, so it's just like, ugh, you know. So to have a song like this and we're talking about spring, what's wrong with you?
It was just sad, like a specific, because to me it just sounds like something that we're gonna continue just doing. But I mean, I don't think that we can just do this till we're like old.
I mean, eventually people are gonna get bored with us, sweetheart. So I think they'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but okay.
It's better to retire on the Bulls than retire on the Wizards. I'll explain that to you on the drive.
I know what that means.
Oh, okay. But anyway, like,
I'm a Michael Jordan fan now.
Oh,
you put that documentary on for me.
Okay, all right. Well, they didn't even talk about him being on the Wizards.
Yeah, but I knew
he had a coach that coached him on the Bulls and then coached him on the Wizards. And then when the coach started talking, like, he didn't even mention the Wizards. It's like it didn't happen.
Well,
it's like it didn't happen at all. All right. So anyway, I love the concept of spring and the way that I think he's like impersonating the land, right?
I thought so too. That's what I was guessing.
Dreamwave is about the wildfowl arriving. Leaves sprout from my horns. The sap flows from my eyes. It's kind of like the tree, right?
Yeah.
Crackle the gravel and sand in the pits of my. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lyrics. You know, it's really interesting. I had this friend, brilliant guy, and he was like, the dying and rising gods thing is nothing unique to Christianity. And, he's talking, I said, oh yeah, explain it to me. So, a lot of the stuff he was talking, and he didn't know about it, but it was forms of paganism that were basically dealing with the seasons, and a lot of pagans looked at spring as resurrection, and so, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, yeah, that's one way to look at it. Now, of course, these are not historical beings or historical figures like Jesus was. But, I said, and of course...
Or you could say that the creator wrote the story into the whole thing.
Seduct. Right, like, the universe, the scripture says that the heavens are telling the glory of God, that nature, and, Jonathan Edwards, that was one of his major contributions to post-Reformation Christianity, was that Jonathan Edwards believed literally that all of nature was a parable. So that's why he would go out and then he would lose his mind over a leaf. He'd be crying over this leaf. People what is wrong with you, Jonathan Edwards? But I feel like Jonathan Edwards figured it out, because I've long lamented the sort of reactionary aversion to nature that Christians have because of paganism, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely.
Well, maybe the pagans are onto something. Like, right. you can't say that because what are you saying? No, I think the pagans are onto something. Like, their connection with nature is very, very important. And I didn't get into the whole technicalities of, look, this is the first Christians saw themselves as offshoots of Judaism, and they would have never. They would have never snuck in pagan ideas into their theology if they were trying to start a Jewish religion. These are Jewish people. I didn't get into all the technicalities of that, because I'm tired. Because you have to educate people on what Judaism is and Second Temple Judaism and all that. And by that time, people are like, man, I don't care. I was just saying that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times people are just saying it. They don't really want to go into some giant thing about some 400-page book you read about, some Chi in the Septuagint. Chi is actually a very important word in Greek and biblical literature. So, it can mean four because of, John, he uses Chi as Eve. Again, who cares? Nobody cares, Vin. Okay, here's my point. My point is, the dying and rising and all that is, you can look at it as, Christianity stole that, or you could just say, well, maybe there is a God, and maybe if I look at it this way, if I was the Christian God, I would write the story over and over again, all over the place. Whether that would be nature or whatever, there was a big thing that was popular in the late 90s. It was the Gospel in the Stars. So they would talk about Virgo the Virgin, and then there's the warrior. Yep. And he crushed, the scorpion, and the scorpion and the serpent are kind of
I remember you went into it with that girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did the whole astrology thing. Yeah. And, you were kind of looking at me like I was weird when I was going through that whole thing. Because the girl was into astrology and all that. And so, I was like, oh, well, you don't say. And then,
we always were astrology, don't even look at that stuff. I still to this day don't even know what my sign is, because every time I look it up, I quickly forget it because it just has not been a part of my life.
Yeah.
And, don't read your horoscope, don't read none of that. We barely could read our fortune cookie.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, my uncle didn't read the fortune cookie. None of them could.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. So he was, tying that together with the gospel and all this different stuff. So it was a bizarre moment for me, because it was
you were really looking at me like you were.
But I thought it was pretty interesting though.
Yeah, so
and it was cool to see, I was learning,
Yeah, so you got the lion, that's Jesus, and you got the maiden and the scales of judgment. The scarlet, and you got the archer, which is
the goat. There's so
the water bearer, the fish, which was a Christian. So I just went through the whole thing, and it was fun. But Sori was looking at me like, you're going straight to hell. You're straight to hell, no detours. You're going
flames licking you down.
Yeah. But
no, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was, a little weird, but at the same time, it was. I had become more acclimated to your ways by that point. You were
my ways.
Yes, you were always.
What do you mean my ways?
You're always doing stuff that's non-conventional that would get you thrown out and burned at the stake from lots of different churches if they still did that.
It's true. Well,
I'm there goes Vin.
There's lots of church people that would like to burn your brother at the stake today, if you could believe it or not, dear listener.
There is. There is. Yes.
If they knew.
For varying reasons.
If they knew, though, they wouldn't mess with me.
No, probably not.
They would not.
Probably not.
Not at all. Well, they don't mess with me now, though. I can feel Peter's eyes rolling right now. Dear God, Vin. Yeah, but they really wouldn't. Didn't somebody like close to you try to like do a?
I think about it all the time.
Try to do one of those little searches on me.
I think about it all the time.
You told me that. I laughed so hard.
Yep.
You think about why do you think about that?
Because that moment was, you know, like, have you ever seen in like cartoons where the person was like, "Ha! You thought that you were right, didn't you?" He goes, "Well, I did until you laughed like that."
Oh.
It was like one of those moments where it was like...
Yeah, because my response is kind of weird, because you're like, so-and-so, and I laughed. I was like, ha ha, he'll never find anything. That's what I said.
Yes, I know what you said.
I was all chuckling. I was like, well, wait a second. That's not going to be very consoling to her.
It wasn't, and that's probably why I think about it. I'm like, what?
It's like, he'll never
I'm like,
find
good, he won't... What? What would he find if he could?
Nothing.
You know what I mean.
He'll never find a thing.
I think about that,
I have
and the
so
other
many
moment that I think
names.
about was when, remember we went, there was that kid that was having like a lot of issues. He recently just got set free from, he was going to be going to basically like juvie, but they let him out.
Yes.
Okay, well, remember we went to have that meeting?
Uh-huh.
And he asked you that question, and like, I always think that was another really weird moment.
What did I say?
You said no, but when you said no, I got a really, really weird feeling. And I was like, what? And so then I was like, but then I asked you after, and you said, basically, it made no sense for that discussion to even happen there. It was just a distraction.
It was a distraction.
Well, I know, but... So...
Nobody knows what we're talking about. It's very rude.
Yes, but some people will, you know, tell you what the name of Europe stands for. Like, some people will actually have a meaning for this discussion.
He just completely made that shit up out of whole cloth. Shout out to Mr. Farrakhan, but y'all be... I'm sorry. I can't go with you there, brother minister.
You know what? People do that a lot. They just like mix stuff up.
God bless Minister Farrakhan, but you know, it's this much, and you know, Dirk texted me. He's like, "Hey, your boy Farrakhan's a problem." What's up, Dirk?
It's a problem. Anyway, back to the
for some
review.
reason, I still think Dirk is black. Like, I feel like Dirk is black, even
That's
though
because
like
he had his thing.
even though we talked to him face to face on the video.
I know.
He never like we never do those video chats
maybe
anymore.
He didn't want people knowing he wasn't black.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he doesn't care. Dirk never does those video chats with me. Remember, we used to talk like almost like once a week for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't care anymore. He's off doing his thing. That's fine, Dirk. You know.
He's off doing.
I don't need you. So the blood red buds in the snow, flowers will rise from the ground, the deer will come a grazing, the bear must be awake. That's a beautiful thing, man. You know, like that's one of the things where, you know, you talk about going to Cali. I don't really know what type of like springs that Cali actually has. Does Cali actually have a spring?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because it seems like
The reason I love the spring is because I
Florida,
hate the winter.
Florida, like there really wasn't like a celebratory spring season.
Yeah,
I
and I get it.
I just remember the oranges and the orange trees.
I think that the celebration of spring is a wonderful thing, but at the same time, like...
You're a poet, but you didn't know it. Go ahead.
I just think I can't...
What?
It is so cold and so dark here, and there's enough things to be depressed about without that. So...
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been worse for me, like, the past few years, but I'm beginning to wonder if it's because we're also, like, I don't have a yard, I don't have a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, the other day, I was having a hard day, and I just wanted to go lay out in the sun, but you can't do that in an apartment complex.
I mean, you can.
I'm not going to.
I don't recommend it.
I feel like I'd be just watched.
You would be. I'd watch you.
You'd watch me? Well, then I might do it.
Yeah, I decided against it. Decided against watching. Yeah, but spring must be pretty freaking beautiful where Kai is. Kai takes the most. Look at these pictures, y'all, that Kai takes. It's unbelievable. I had to put it up on my Instagram because it's just. I love his eye, man. Like the guy's got a ridiculously very, very good eye. Mm-hmm. Kai with the eye, taking pictures of the sky.
Poet.
They look so beautiful, you might even cry. That ain't no lie. You gotta ask God why.
He's gonna bust up you and I. Because you said you were gonna go off with Kai to some vacation, and I haven't forgotten it, Kai.
He would take, you know how soft-hearted Kai is. Kai's more of a Christian than me, good Lord. He's
true.
all soft-hearted.
I'd be like, am I gonna go with you?
It's
You'd be like,
come on.
no.
You'd
And
be like,
I'd
come on,
Kai.
Vin, come. I mean, you'll have to take your wife on the road. I don't know how those Europeans. So this is a massively good song, very, very positive. Incarnating as nature itself. The boulders of giants are rolling down my slopes, and the streams of my old veins, like the waterways or whatever his vein. Like that's amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed the song, for sure. For sure.
Me too.
It's one of these songs, man, where lyrically I would take this. I like if I had like some private property with some meadow or something in the spring, like I would just take the words and because it's like legitimate, really good poetry. Mm-hmm. And then sonically it sounded great too. It's very upbeat, very a lot of major chords and all of that, which makes the soul happy. What do you give the song?
It's a 9.6 for me.
9.8 from me. It was going to be a 9.7, but Kai always equals a +1. Literally, it doesn't matter. 9.8 from me.
Okay.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you for not making it very heavy. Although he told me I could pick between two songs.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it being heavy. It's just,
No,
so
you just had the last two of them that were
pick
very
whatever
heavy.
song. Well, I mean, the Pantera one wasn't. It was just because
You were heavy.
I was in a bad situation. I mean, the Pantera song was fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, shout out to all our patrons and everybody that gives us songs to review. We appreciate you. Tell the truth.